And welcome back. Senator Bryce Reeves is a state senator in the state of Virginia. He's seeking to become a member of that royal body, the United States Congress. Senator, why would you give up where you've had so much influence, have done so much good, you've served us in the United States Army, you've given your service to this country. Why Congress?
Well, listen, there's a lot of things broken in this country, Armstrong, and it takes leadership with a vision. And what I mean by that is, you know, when you look at, let's just keep it on my side of the aisle for a second here. Congress had the opportunity to enshrine into code some of the great policies that our last president had, which made us successful as a nation, I think, those policies and some of the regulatory reforms that he made. But we didn't have enough guts to put it into code. And you know this, you've been around Capitol Hill long enough, around the legislative process. And because we only did executive authority, those were unwound very quickly within 100 days, and we've seen some of the ramifications of those actions. And so I take it as a leadership challenge as someone who's been leading in the Senate of Virginia this whole time, the last 11 years I've been a member of the Senate of Virginia, leading from the front. And that's having the hard conversations, doing the hard right, what I call the hard right over easy wrong. And let me say it like this too. Americans and Virginians are hurting right now more than ever. And I'll give you an example. I think it's about 3.5, 4 weeks ago now. I'm at Royal Farms in my district. I go to fill up my diesel truck that I drive. And there's an African-American lady across from me on the same pump. She walks into the store, comes out, pumps her gas literally maybe 30 seconds. Maybe 30 seconds. Hangs the nozzle up and starts crying. Well, you know, I'm a former police officer, I'm a Christian by faith, and, you know, I'm human. Ma'am, are you okay? Is everything all right? And she's like, no, I don't know how I'm going to get to work today. Normally when I put $5 gas in, I can get to work for 2 days, I can't even get to work. So I did what you would do, or you would do, and I filled her car up. And she just cried, and she hugged me, and she said, thank you. That little blessing changed her life, maybe temporarily for a week, but we have to have real leadership that understands the real challenges of Americans today. And when we're talking about inflation, there are things we can work on inflation-wise to help. We were once energy independent. We didn't have $6 diesel and $5.59 gasoline. We had the economy that was rolling. Now look at the housing market. Interest rates, Fed's just moved interest rates up to try to stave off some of that inflation. We need to look at housing. We need to look at labor cost. As a small business owner, I have to struggle with that myself. I have to put away my estimated quarterly taxes and trying to get that income in. I mean, this country went through a struggle under COVID, and I remember when COVID first hit, and the country was pretty united because this was something that we had never experienced before, and people listened to the government. Then we found out that maybe things weren't what everybody was telling us. And it changed, and the country froze, and we still don't have all the answers from that. And we have to get people in office back into the people business. You see, I've learned this in my time in law enforcement, in the military, and being an elected official, that government doesn't love people. People love people, and we have to get into people business. We have to get back to where we care about people more than we care about our political ideology, about where we stand. You know, I think it was the great Martin Luther King who said, it's not where we stand in times of easiness, but in those times of trials and tribulations, right? He affirmed that, and that's where you find out the character of a person, of a man or a woman. And so for me, I want to run for Congress because I want to make a difference. I've done that in the General Assembly. Numerous bills and numerous things that we can talk about that we've done and had legislative success with in a bipartisan fashion in a Democratic.
Welcome back. How can you be more effective in addressing the issues you just talked about as a freshman member of Congress? How do you make the difference?
Well, first, I would take homage to be called a freshman. I might be freshman as far as being part of a new class of congressmen that come forward, but I'm no freshman with regard to the process. I've been in the legislative chamber in the Senate of Virginia for 11 years. I've been the minority whip. I've been the majority whip. I understand how politics works. I understand how to make, quote, the sausage. It's an ugly process, but at the end of the day, people like the taste of it, hopefully. And so How can we make that difference? One of the first things that I've realized is to lower my expectations a little bit in anticipation of going to Congress. And I mean that in a sense of it will be very difficult because there's a lot more players with regard to how to do it. But one of the things I think that would benefit Congress is to change their rules. And some people are like, well, what are you talking about? And one of the things that I think would be very beneficial to Congress is, one, to get back to regular order. Two, get back to a regular budget so we're not running on continuing resolutions. And the third thing that I think would be very, very helpful is to do what's called single object rule, which says if you're going to put a piece of legislation in about an issue you're trying to fix, it must remain germane to that single issue. In other words, I can't put in a bill for veterans and come along and put a road building project onto that bill and a bunch of these other things to try to entice other members to just get on board. I think a bill should be able to stand on its own merit. And I think what you'll find out is that there is a lot more that brings us together versus some of those issues that just naturally divide the parties and people. And we found that to be very successful. It works when you talk about germaneness and you keep it focused on those issues. And I'll give you an example. Foster care. I got a message when I was chairman of the committee. We were last in the country for kids who age out of foster care. That's not a political issue. That's a children's issue. And we worked together. I got a bipartisan group of senators together and delegates. We got 140 members. Every member of the General Assembly voted for the bill to fix foster care. And that's important because we're no longer last in the country for kids who age out, that go in as children, no fault of their own, 18 years and never have a permanent home. That's a moral tragedy to me. And we fixed that, and we made it better. And that's what I'm talking about, single object rule.
Senator Bryce Reeves' election is Tuesday.
This Tuesday, yeah.
June the 21st. June the 21st. We wish you well. We thank you so much for stopping by and joining us for this edition of the Armstrong Williams Show. Also want to thank attorney Ben Crump. Go out and see his Netflix movie, Civil. I'm Armstrong Williams.